Hence, work is much more enjoyable at a company that respects and values its employees. In a respectful workplace, employees treat each other with dignity regardless of position or personal benefits. Identifying several factors that can influence respect will help ensure that you treat co-workers appropriately. And manners matter. In a busy office, it is hard not to be distracted. Phones ring and deadlines loom, which can make it difficult to give your coworker the attention she deserves when she comes to you with a question or a problem. Let voicemail take care of your messages and give your full attention to your colleague. Don't assume you know that she is going to say and cut her off. Avoid making faces or rolling your eyes when she talks, even if you don't agree with their assessment or feel that the matter is trivial. Keeps the lips sealed. Gossip can quickly ruin working relationships. Don't spread a start gossip even if you have seen or heard a particularly juicy piece of information. You might not understand the situation or context of the conversation and might damage the person's reputation by repeating what you saw or heard. Once others hear the gossip, they might ostracize or mock the person. Avoid all types of gossip, both workplace and in personal. It is difficult to have privacy in an office, particularly if you work in a cubicle or in an open office. If you learn that the employee in the next cubicle has financial or marital problems, it is best to keep that information to yourself. So let us have a detailed picture of the factors that is influencing a person's work behavior. First and foremost thing is personal influences. So where it is really coming from and how you can have more. It is often a fuzzy, mucky, gray area. What does it really mean to be a boss? It means you have influence because that is your title. What does it mean to be a leader? It means you have the influence because others choose to follow you. But what does it mean to have influence? That is a bigger question, and ironically, it is the question that bosses and leaders, sometimes the same, are anxiously trying to figure out. We often write and speak about influencing greatness in others because our audience is often defined by people who hold the title of a manager. However, neither one of us really care too much for that title. Instead of sounding like a person who is supposed to support, inspire, and cheer for the success of employees, the word manager sounds more like a person responsible for diluting temper tantrums, polishing time cards, and giving orders. That is no fun. Those things may influence people to meet expectations out of fear, but they won't inspire them to be great. The real job of a manager, as we see it, is to influence others to greatness so that they don't need to be changed or managed. Instead, they want to produce great work because it is rewarding, serves a bigger purpose, or creates a difference that is loud. But that again begs the questions: what does it mean to truly influence? Where does influence come from? Who does it come from? And how can you have greater influence on others? In our work, we have found three things that have the power to influence others to achieve their best, and they have nothing to do with control, threats, or fear. First one, be your best you and expect the same from them. Throughout our careers, many of us have been told to set an example for others, but it is important to understand that setting an example for others doesn't mean you expect others to become you. Instead, you be the best version of yourself and expect them to become the best version of themselves. That is where people will naturally thrive to the greatest extent. In fact, University of Cambridge psychologist Brian Little, who studies authenticity at work, said, suppress your true self for too long and you risk stress, burnout, and perhaps even physical health consequences. The same is being found in company cultures. Great culture is a result of allowing people to be the best version of themselves instead of trying to force people into becoming who we think they should be, said Dan McNamee, president of Floyd's 99 barbershops when he asked him how the company has been able to maintain such a strong culture of service through extreme growth. This concept might seem counterintuitive, but we see it all the time. Those who accept, support, and inspire people to become their best have more influence than those who try to change people into something they are not. Next, friendship is not frowned upon. No matter what your title is, there is a little secret about influence that many bosses and companies seem to overlook. Titles and positions are not always the most potent forms of influence. Instead, social relationships have a massive impact on the way people view and feel about their work. In fact, a study by the University of Pennsylvania and the University of Minnesota found that when tasked with diverse work projects, groups of friends were better than groups of acquaintances at committing to the start of a project, communicating throughout the activity, offering both encouragement and feedback, and critically evaluating ideas. Add to that a Gallup study that revealed an employee with a best friend at work is 5 minutes more likely to feel a strong connection to their company and 7 times more likely to fully engage at work than employees who don't have a best friend at the office. Again, this concept might seem counterintuitive to many leaders, but the fact speaks for themselves. If you want to influence greatness in the people in your organization, promote friendship at work. Appreciate their quest for greatness. If you truly want to influence people to become their best, you need to find out what they want to achieve and then appreciate the fact that you get to be part of their journey. Think about it. People want their work to make a difference to their organization, to the customer, or to the recipient of their work. In fact, the O.C. Tanner Institute studied more than 1 million cases of award-winning work to find that 88% of those projects started with an employee asking some form of the question, what difference can I make that someone would love? What difference could I make that someone would love? If we help people make those differences by encouraging their effort, rewarding their results, and celebrating the fact that get to play a role in their career ascent, we will quickly come to the conclusion that recognition someone's dream is one of the most influential things we can do. It is often fuzzy, like we mentioned, the difference between a boss, being a leader, and being an influencer, but it is really not all that difficult to understand if you understand your opportunity as a boss, as a leader, as an influencer. You have the ability to help people experience greatness. Next comes, after personal influences, what can be part of the influential factor as far as work behavior is concerned? Organizational influence. Fallible decisions of upper level management directly affect supervisory practices as well the conditions and actions of operators. These latent conditions generally involve issues related to resources or acquisition management, organizational climate, and organizational process as shown. Organizational influence are factors in a mishap if the communications, actions, omissions, or policies of upper level management directly or indirectly affect supervisory practices, conditions, or actions of the operator or operators and result in system failure, human error, or an unsafe situation. Resource or acquisition management. This category refers to the management, allocation, and maintenance of organizational resources, human, monetary, and equipment or facilities. The term human refers to the management of operators, staff, and maintenance personnel. Issues that directly influence safety include selection, including background checks, training and staffing, and manning. Monetary issues refer to the management of human resources and primary monetary resources. For example, excessive cost cutting and lack of funding for proper equipment have adverse effects on operating performance and safety. Finally, equipment or practice refers to issues related to equipment design, including the purchasing of unsuitable equipment, inadequate design of workers, and failures to correct known design flaws.